Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's Ann with Ann Made, and we're going to make the bracelet, okay? Now, I did receive the wire, okay? That's dead soft craft wire. This one's 22 gauge. This one here is 20 gauge, okay? So we're gonna use the 20 gauge for this. And we need to measure out a good bit of wire here, okay? So, and be careful when you're working with wire because it's, it's wire, all right? So we're gonna cut about a good, I'll say 12, 13 inches of wire here. You always wanna make sure you have enough wire. Okay, you get your beads on there and you don't have enough wire to finish the bracelet and you're in bad shape, okay? So with this piece of wire here, and you really want it to be straight, I just take a piece of material like a cloth, trying to straighten it out as best you can. Okay, so like I said, be careful with this wire on the ends where you flush cut it, it could be sharp. Okay, so what you want to do here, this goes together basically the same way the ring does. Okay, we want to take and bend that like this. Now we're not looking for the little loop that we had with the ring, okay? What we're looking for is more of a teardrop. So you just kind of like want to bend this wire somewhat to right about there, okay? And you want to take and bend your wire down, each wire. You want to bend and kind of just straighten it out. Okay, straighten it out like this. Okay, so there we've got that teardrop. I hope you can see that. I've changed the bottom paper here so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so there's that. Okay, and you want to take another piece of wire. Not as long this time. Like I said, be careful. Want to kind of, this is on a spool, so you want to kind of take and straighten it out a little bit. It doesn't have to be as long as it was the first time. I'll say maybe 10, 12 inches. And we'll flush cut that. And what we're going to do here is, of course, we're going to straighten it out best you can. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take our thumb and we're going to bend. Okay? You can also do this with the round nose pliers if you want. Okay? So get that wire as straight as you can. I'll put this over here. You want this to go back behind here. Okay? I prefer this to be facing this way. And what we want is this right back behind. This wire is just so long, it's just hitting my arm. You want to take that crease right there, okay? You want this long piece right here in the middle. Just kind of straighten them out a little bit. Okay, that's right where we want this. Just want to hold here. Okay, keeping that piece right there in the middle. And then we're going to take the jewelry pliers and we're just going to wind around. Okay, you got to really hold it tightly so it doesn't slide around. Okay, and you want to wrap it once. Keep a tight enough grip. Okay, do not overlap these. Okay, and you kind of want to go around like 3 good times before you flush cut it. Okay, and you just, all you're doing is just pulling it nice and snugly. Okay, make sure you go around 3 times with it. Okay, this one here, that should be 3. Just pull that up and nice and snug. Okay, so there's that. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take and flush cut this piece back here. Okay, I'm gonna take the flush cutters and be careful with these, please. Get as close as you can. Hold that piece right there and just cut. Make sure you have a trash can handy, so you don't want any of these pieces ending up on your floor. Okay, so now that we have that piece sticking up here, you want to take your flat nose pliers and just kind of squeeze that down, okay, to where it's not sticking up. You don't want anything pointy here. And I just kind of like take and squish it together, but make sure it's nice and flat. Okay, so now it looks like this. Here's where the beads come in. Okay, and what you'll do is you'll straighten out your wire. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. It's just a little bit too long. Let's flush cut this. Should be longer than the rest, and it is. Okay, so we're gonna start with, there's 17 beads here. Okay, you want to make sure you get them all on this, all on here. They're kind of, the holes are kind of small, so you want to try to, it's kind of a little bit difficult to get them on here. Let me move this out of the way here. Okay, so we'll put this bead on here first. Okay, you want to kind of separate that, push that bead down, and then you're going to hold tight, and you're going to come right underneath that wire over here. Pick this one up and come right over the top. Okay, so it encases that bead there. Okay, and we're gonna put, now these are 5 and 4 millimeter beads. They are not the same size, each one of them. The pinks are the 4s and the whites are the 5s. It's a little bit difficult to see because they're not very small, but they're not huge either. Okay, so you want to get that bead seated right there and hold on with your forefinger and thumb. Come right around the back of the bead, go over and under this one, and bring this one right over the top. Okay, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to put the rest of the beads on here. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, put the rest of the beads on, and then I will restart the video and show you how we put the toggle clasp on when I'm finished. Okay, so I'll see you shortly. All right, y'all, I'm back. Okay, so once you have all the beads on, it should look like this. Okay, and you want to make sure everything is nice and straight. So you would just turn it like so. Okay, just making sure everything is nice and straight. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to pull nice and tightly, and we're going to take the jewelry pliers here. Let me put this piece over here. We're going to take the jewelry pliers and we're going to wrap around, okay? And go. We'll hold with the jewelry pliers. Okay. Okay, just want to make a little bit of a round there. Okay. So now we're going to take and we're going to move this one here and around, okay? Then we're going to do the same with this one. We may have to bend it a little bit down at the bottom here to get it to go round. Okay. So we're just going to wrap it around. We'll get this one out of the way and wrap this one around. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take and flush cut here. let's take and just move that just a little bit. Okay. Just kind of, there we go. Okay, now what we want to do is go ahead and flush cut these two pieces. So as close as you can get it. Okay, there's one. Needs to be cut a little bit closer there. Okay, there we go with that. And now we're going to flush cut over here. Let's get it nice and tight and up there. Okay, and you'll go as close as you can and just flush cut that piece. Sometimes it's hard to, okay, there we go. It needs to be cut a little bit better. Yeah, see, those pieces fly now. You know, keep a trash can right beside you because you don't want any of these pieces on the floor. Okay, so now we're going to take our flat nose pliers and we're just going to squish a little bit and just kind of move that in so it's not so, you don't want anything poking anyone, okay? You can even take the edge and just kind of, there we go. Okay, so now we have this, okay? Now what we want to do is make the end, like the first end that we started, which is a teardrop, okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to go like this and bend the wire by hand, okay, into the teardrop like we have on the other end. Okay, just keep bending until you get the same size as the other end. Okay, and you can always go back and you can straighten it out a little bit. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to bend here and we're going to hold with the flat nose pliers and we're just going to wind this around, okay? We're going to hold this like this and we're just going to take and wrap this wire right around just like we did before, okay? Once. You want to go 3 times. It's better if I hold this with my left hand and do this with my right, okay? Around 3 times, and then we'll flush cut. Okay, so there we go, and now we'll take this, and we will flush cut this piece. Okay, and like I said before, get as close as you possibly can. Put those pieces in the trash there. You may have to take the jewelry pliers and kind of get it to snug down a little bit. There we go. Okay, now that it's good and snug down, now what we want to do is you want to take something round. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use this little guy right here. Okay, and we're just going to straighten it out, and we're going to go right around, okay? And this is to make the bracelet there, okay? Okay, this will be a small one, but you just kind of like want to bend the wire like that, okay? Because what we're going to do now is we're going to attach the toggle clasp, okay? So we'll just put this back over here and we'll kind of bend a little bit. And now I already made the jump rings. That will be a whole nother, that'll be a whole nother tutorial when I do that, okay? So we're just gonna attach this heart here at the end. But you can make your own jump rings if you got the right tools. Okay, so we're going to take this jump ring here and we're just going to open it up And we're going to slide it on here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to close it using the flat nose pliers, or if I have a special jump ring closure, but I'm not going to use that right now. I just want to get this closed and shown to you. Okay, close that. And now we're going to take the toggle and we're basically going to do the same thing here. We're just going to take and open the jump ring. This can get tricky. Okay, open the jump ring and we're going to put it there, right there on the end. And we're going to take and close this just like that. Okay, so now all we need to do here is put the toggle through the little heart. Toggle clasps are nice. They're not always easy to work with, okay? Especially when you're trying to put the bracelet on yourself. Okay. You want to make sure that it goes all the way in and through. Okay, sometimes you may have a little bit of a difficulty with, if you do not have the right size toggle, it can make it a little tricky. Okay, so there's the toggle. Okay, and that is the small bracelet with the toggle closure. Okay, so that was like very, very simple. I mean, you can make these in all sizes, and you know, it's a matter of measuring the wrist. Okay, so there's that one. So there's the bracelet and ring tutorials. I hope y'all have enjoyed it, and we'll see what next projects are coming up next. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more sewing, a little bit more jewelry. Got some cool Halloween stuff coming up. Of course, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and this, that, and the other. Okay, so there you go. That was very, very simple. Okay, and very, very pretty. So I hope everybody has a great night. Have a great rest of the weekend. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay happy, and take care.